This podcast is sponsored by Scope of Work. Do you want to close accounts? Do you want to actually have the best conditions possible? You want to make sure that you see new hires? Well, use Scope of Work. Recommended by many doctors and all Aflac agents in Los Angeles. Scope of Work. Welcome to LA Legends, where Aflac pros sharpen skills, swap stories, and build the Los Angeles South market one legend at a time. I am Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Each week, we bring you conversations with leaders who are not only raising the bar, but showing us exactly how they do it. Today, we are joined by Regional Sales Coordinator Jonathan Hajimomen. He's made some major adjustments as a leader, specifically around the lead elevation system and accountability, and the results have been powerful.
Well, John, I am super fired up. Thank you for joining us today. I've been a peer of yours for a very long time. You've talked to me off of Aflac Ledges, and I've always wanted to work with you, and now I get to, which is fantastic. So we're excited to dive into this bad boy. Hope you're ready.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us. Likewise.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to give a quick little shout out. This is just a snapshot. Your team is up in huge ways this year. You're on a 21% new account increase, field only sales 12% increase, new associate AP 26%. And the two metrics I thought were pretty crazy. Quarter to date right now, 150% increase on new account sales, 64% increase year to date. So that's why we have you on here, because you guys are absolutely crushing it. And obviously, you've had to reinvent yourself in a lot of different ways, but you've kind of had like a throwback year in certain ways. So I want to ask you, can you just give a snapshot for people if they somehow do not know you? What was the team like, at the start of this year? What were some of the changes that you introduced?
I think you nailed it with the word team, right? Because I couldn't do it by myself. And so I'm very blessed that my teams are also good followers. They're fantastic leaders, but they're also following. And what is old is new again for us. And so we kind of had to get back into what used to work, why we stopped doing it. And we made those changes. And I think we were very open and understanding that, hey, we're going to try. We can't be afraid of failing. We were not in a good position going into this year. I think we had some momentum, a lot of positives. But one of our areas that was absolutely the weakest was new business. And so as a team, I'd say fourth quarter of last year, we really committed to turning and righting that ship because we had so much talent coming on and that talent was being suppressed by just putting in the book and surviving. And we really wanted to get on the other side and start thriving. So yeah, we made some major changes, but nothing new. Like nothing I'm going to share is new. Yeah. It's just what's old is new again. And it's working really well, especially when you partner with technology and the support you guys have given at the market and territory and company level. So it's exciting and it's working.
No, I mean, we've seen, and you've showed me in the past, like some of the numbers that you even have from like 2015, 2016 of, not only like the careers that you've helped build through lead elevation, those are the people I want to actually put a leadership lens on for. You've implemented this multiple times now. That's what I actually like about this. So what are some of those early challenges that people are going to face when they're actually just starting to get some adoption on any new strategy that we're talking about?
Yeah, I'd say that's always the big one is the confidence. Nothing you're going to implement is going to happen overnight. So trust the system. So it's really cool that this would be our fourth time doing this as an organization. And so it's kind of cool. We got to point to some wins and also showcase some of the things that allowed us to not only grow, but make sure we don't make some of those mistakes. So again, it's a team effort. So having the support of the market is also awesome. But I'd say being kind and be nice to yourself. Give yourself some grace because you're going to make mistakes, nothing of which is going to be critical, nothing you can't go back and fix. But as you probably know, and a lot of people that are listening know, I track everything.
Yes,
and so I like data. I like not repeating mistakes. And so just be very patient and let the system work. And it is just that. It's a system. Put the pressure on.
Attracting and keeping the best talent means offering more than just a paycheck. Aflac Value Added Services delivers real-life support for your team. Identity protection from IRIS. Modern protection against scamming, phishing, and identity theft with proactive monitoring. Aflac Value Added Services, because supporting your team means supporting their whole well-being.
Well
You want me
said,
to elaborate
John.
a little
Oh, no,
further?
no, I'm gonna go to Michelle. Yeah.
Well, can you walk us through some of that personal leadership adjustment you've had to make right before asking your team to buy into it? Because again, we've done it a few times, right? Going back in, Michael Fisher said this very well last year. It worked so well, we stopped doing it. So, what are some adjustments you had to make, as a leader yourself before getting your team to actually buy in to what you're bringing this year?
I was scared you're going to ask that first because this is where probably a lot of leadership might just stop listening. But I can't tell anybody to do anything I'm unwilling to do.
Yeah.
So even though I have proof of concept and I know I can tell everybody it works, I think the challenge was I had to go do it myself, stop my busy day, decide what was the most important part to our business, and go and do it. And actually, just to be completely vulnerable, do it very poorly. Because I had to knock the rust off too. So I had to go out there, get the nose, not right now, pull the employee, create no urgency, and then really kind of work backwards from that. So I'd say, Michelle, to answer the question, for the leadership listening, go do it. It's
Yeah.
not fun, it's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but it is important because from there, I think I was able to build credibility in the middle. I've always had great followers that I think have always just been, hey, we're going to do it because it's the right thing to do. Like most organizations, there's some folks that probably will never do it, no matter
Yeah.
how good it is. It was really me moving the middle. So I knew to do that effectively, I would have to go first. And I didn't do it well, but I did it consistently enough that a couple of the wins that came through, people are like, ooh, I could duplicate this. I can see by even doing it poorly, it's better than my current result.
Yeah, I think people would be
Absolutely.
shocked. I know that we're sharing some numbers earlier, but you've already hit over 25 personal accounts,
Yeah.
year to date, as a region, which is, yeah, that's big number, especially for, somebody with the size of organization that you have.
Yeah, thank you. That's what became important, right? So that's the Aflac thing. There's everything we can chase, and for a long time we were chasing those important metrics that got us a lot of wins. But a lot of those wins we realized maybe a little too late we couldn't control and duplicate. And the tried, tested, proven thing is new accounts. If you're prospecting, which by and far, for just being real and simplifying, is the hardest thing. If someone can prospect consistently, master prospecting, pick the role you want in Aflac, pick the income you want in Aflac. Prospecting is really the only obstacle, I think, from being good to being great. And so when we kind of reflected back on what we were missing, it was we were just really exhausting a lot of the broker relationships, exhausting a lot of the book, and we couldn't expect more. So someone had to go get new cases. And again, I'm not sitting here saying I did it by myself. I had a fantastic leadership team that did it with me alongside. So then it wasn't just me, it was all of us. And that was a really powerful moment because then you eliminate the excuses, you eliminate the what ifs. When you have my team, we have Tyler, Lisa, Roy, Veronica, that are also leading by example. I think it makes it a very safe and fun environment for the associates that have never done this business before. And they see
Yeah.
us leading and doing the right thing, good habits, not what we all fall into is those bad habits after we experience
Right.
some success.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, did you experience, some when you started bringing it back in earlier this year? Because I noticed that big shift happening in Q1 of like having to overcome some skepticism or resistance from your team because you guys are running like a well-oiled machine today. But bringing something like that back, did you
Yeah.
have to overcome any of that?
Yeah, there's always going to be that moment where you start second guessing if it's working. You get to that your edge of the cliff there, and you're going to jump. It's like, oh, did I really pack my parachute right? And
Hmm.
you start getting all that head trash. Yeah, there was some adoption issues. The real challenge is when you start getting something going, you always look to make it easier, faster, simplify shortcuts. There is just no shortcuts. This is a
Right.
relationship building business, and that takes time. And if you skip crucial steps, I think the biggest challenge we had is people would say, well, I'm doing it just like you. And then we unpack, and maybe if there's like, let's call it 5 steps, they're doing 4 steps really, really well, but they're really not putting a lot of effort in the 5th step. This is all in. There's no deviating from it. It's either you elevate this way or you take a chance the other way. So yeah, I would say, Michelle, without, completely going to all the detail, the early adopters, we got our butts kicked. And then we had to prove to each other why it was okay, because it
Yeah.
was a system. And what we've also discovered, just to kind of put it in reference, what's old is new again. What used to take us 6 to 8 professional persistent touches, aka elevations, is the reality is it's like 8 to 11 now. So we had to understand we got to the goal line, which used to produce and be the thing we could actually gravitate towards and touch and be like, "Ooh, that's going to show up in RPM soon," to all of a sudden, wow, actually we're only about 75% there. So we had to push through that. So Michelle, it
Yeah.
definitely didn't come easy. But again, it was great to see that there was a system and support to push through.
John, we're now we're gonna start diving into this a little bit because this is what I know that our famous 13 listeners love to hear. So we're gonna get into the nitty gritty. So for the people that aren't familiar, I can you just give a quick commercial on what lead elevation is, and then as you kind of lay it out for, I think that there's two lenses. Obviously, I mean, there's multiple, but it's one is what's the why behind it from a leadership perspective, and then secondly, what's the why behind it for those of us that are actually doing it out in the field too.
Yeah, no, I think you start with just that. That's a lot of the coaching I do is the why. And, there's a lot of great authors that talk about the why before the how and the what. And so, I think when you have to be real with yourself, not all clients and all prospects are created equal. So I always joke around with my team, if there was an answer, if there was a perfect email, a perfect thing to say, they wouldn't need us. Our company would have figured it out and done it without us. And so
Right.
take, I think, a lot of pride and even confidence knowing that you are the difference. The client is going to purchase you before they purchase Aflac. And so it starts there. And to kind of walk you through, first things first, you need a lot of quantity to then discover quality. So in our organization, in alignment with Flight School and Michelle and the support you guys are going to get, is get the numbers, get 200, get something to work with, get some really good raw material. And then while you're going through the raw material, identify the nuggets that you want to work with, identify the clients that you relate to, you have common interests. A lot of things I try to coach on is be genuine. Like, don't ask someone about someone's day if you don't care, right? That's disingenuine. But if you do care, ask those questions. And I always like to present the why. And my team is probably getting that moment of fear because anytime someone says, I got an appointment, or John, I'm going to run this or I'm going to run that, I always say, well, why are they meeting with us? Remind me again. And why do you want to meet with them? And have those things answered. So, Michael, I think you nailed it. The why on both
Hmm.
aspects for leadership, the why for the agent, whoever it is, it has to be in alignment. Have a reason, a purpose you want to do business with them, and then you convey that message. You start there, and then you do it through the tools that are given through the market systematically. You go through elevation 1 to, let's call it elevation 8 to 11. And you start with research, have a purpose, have an agenda, have a reason, and have really good conversations that don't involve selling insurance and solution dumping. Have a good idea about the client and maybe what makes them tick. And if you don't know, ask those questions.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to go into too much on the number side, but I would guess, and it's not staggered out of one account or anything that's skewing your numbers, but your team's AP per account closed is pretty staggering. The
Yeah.
defined contribution amounts are also staggering. That's why the need is built. The why for the client is there. The why for your associates there. The why for the DSV is there. So yeah, talking some nitty gritty stuff. Most of your teams start out with 200 gross total leads, right? They're putting 200 in the system, and they are essentially prospecting them down to that dream 60. Is that the focus for the team? Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so when you have the Dream 60, we try to simplify what you're going to run into, and probably don't have enough time to go into all those those
Right.
details. But again, it's really you understand why you want to do business with the client, then you also understand your capabilities and ultimately like your skill sets. So anything that falls out of that, again, very blessed to have leadership. Come to us, we'll help you. So a lot of times out of that 60, our agents are only prospecting probably 30 to 40 of them, and then our leadership matched with you, the other BSPs, if there's brokers involved, are prospecting the other 20. So it's a really cool delegation of power and resources and really just experience and skill set. So I think probably one of the people here is the 30 we're working on. So we do some really good research. I have found, especially with the internet, LinkedIn and these things,
Hmm.
the story is told a lot of times on their website. Like, you don't have to guess much if you spend a little bit of time and find on a company's website that they're hiring. They literally post their resume. Like, you
Yeah.
can use that for you. So say, just take your time, make sure you want to work with the client, because good research is going to help you get through those elevations much more quickly. And again, don't skip any steps.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that I'll just say personally, it kills me because research at this stage is easier than it's ever been. I mean, you
Hmm.
could throw that bad boy into ChatGPT and you don't even have an excuse now. It's
Yeah.
like it will it will go on their website and LinkedIn and scrape all of it for you. So,
Mhm.
I 100% agree with that. One quick one, and this is just actually this isn't even a question. I'm gonna just you guys highlight your wins so well. You put your team on the forefront. Your team right now on you guys use Slack. I mean, on their elevations when they're out in the field, they're taking pictures. They're doing selfies with no soliciting signs, doing selfies with ducks.
Yeah.
I mean, it is fantastic to watch. So I just want to say I think that there's a lot of reinforcement that happens inside of your team through people posting their wins and also just showing that they're out there. I know that, for a lot of us out there, like it's like, oh man, I don't want to post on whatever on Slack or GroupMe or whatever, but it is cool because everybody's doing it. Your DSCs are bought in. It's pretty fantastic to watch that.
Yeah. I think it's important, again, simplifying. That's if you get to know me, I try to oversimplify everything because everything else we do is pretty complicated. So simplifying things, I think, is really the focus for me in leadership. And so to kind of partially answer, I don't know if there was a question there, but
No, there
partly
isn't. Yeah,
to
there
kind
is.
of give the feedback on that is, we're all doing the same thing. We might have different reasons for doing it, but how we generate clients in this business, it doesn't matter what position you're in, it starts the same. And again, like I mentioned earlier, it starts with a relationship. It starts with your why, their why, and connecting those things. So I think it's really powerful. And it's also a really cool barometer to see who's playing as a team and who's playing as a lone wolf. Both are absolutely essential on the team, but both cannot receive the same resources. And so there's, that old saying, if you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with someone. So a big thing in our team is like, look, prospecting is hard. Let's just be real. Prospecting sucks. If someone told me, John, you can work on a bunch of enrollments, I might put my 30-day in and just be an enroller forever. But someone's got to go find the enrollments, right? And so
Mhm.
far, it's been me in a lot of cases in my leadership. So got to keep that torch lit. But I share that with you because if you're going to do something hard, I've always found it so much more enjoyable with someone else, especially if your why aligns the purpose, the drive, then you're getting pushed out there and we make it fun. So kind of my comment on that is if we're going to do the hard thing, let's make it fun. Let's gamify it. Let's
Absolutely.
not make it about the results. Let's make it about the behavior.
I agree.
100%.
It's the fact that they're posting, them being out there. It's the little wins you can take every single day because those start to add up. Like hitting your goals for those days, right? Getting out those elevations, taking those pictures. And man, when I hop on it, if I haven't been on your Slack for like a day or two, John, it's like so many people sharing their wins. And it gets
It
like,
was
I
up.
want to be part of it too. You know what I mean? I want to be celebrating with them as well. So
Yeah.
start your week strong with the Monday morning meeting. Tune in for team accolades that celebrate success, contests that keep you motivated, and announcements that keep you ahead. Don't just start your Monday, own it with the Monday morning meeting. I'm gonna turn the conversation towards accountability and culture because accountability I think is a huge part to what we do to ensure individuals hitting where they're trying to go. So and it can feel like pressure to some of them, like, you know what I mean. And Austin Peterson, to quote him, is
Mhm.
accountability isn't to you, it's for you. So can you talk through how you like reframe accountability into something that's positive for your team, because there's a lot of good coming out of this shift you've made this year.
Yeah, well, that's a scary one to go on record because I'm sure there's some people on my team saying I can do a lot better, and I'm committed to doing it. Right, as a leader, I know I don't have all the answers. I know I screw things up a lot, but I'm not. I have no ego. If you get to know me, you tell me to do something, but it works better. I'm doing it. Let's go
Mhm.
for it. So I think it starts with we also have to understand, speaking to the leaders first, that our first client really is our team, right? We have to take care of them, and that relationship's so important. So I'd like to think, again, I don't want to assume because I'm going to get smacked for doing it. My team's very open with me in our conversations, which I really value. But without overstepping, I think it's because I think they think I care and know. And I say I think because I have to constantly prove that in leadership. I want to make sure they understand that it's not just words. Like I know exactly how we're able to show up on the leaderboards, and it's not me. And so I think that translates well into the Slack and the culture because, again, I cannot ask my team to do something I'm not doing. Whether it's well, whether it's doing that part doesn't
Yeah.
matter. If I'm unwilling to do something, you have no credibility, which means you'll have no relationship, which means everything you do is going to come across as harassment. And so I think where we have to level set in my organization is like, remind me again why you're here. And if this isn't working, I'm committed to helping you get there. But what I'm not committed to do is hear how you might bring down the organization, might talk negative about these things because the Aflac dream is alive and well. And I've been here for 21 years, and I can tell you this is more of a necessity than I've ever seen before. And I have, been blessed with family, the business. I understand the insurance side. It's not getting any better. So we're becoming more of a necessity. So I think to answer your question, Michelle, on a leadership level, before you can do anything or ask anything, you got to show that you care and love, that you really are going to be consistent. It's not just on a one-time moment. It's not learning the kids' birthdays once. It's like legitimately keeping it front and center. And I think by doing that, you'll be able to build an organization that cares. Like I've had more people in the last 3 quarters ask where I'm at in regards to fame because they know that the more we fame, the more generous we can be, the more enjoyable and more fun it is. And again, I said I a lot in that sentence. That wasn't the intention. It's more the alignment because they know that if the team's winning, that's really going to be translating very well to all levels. And so how we hold each other accountable is I think we care about each other. And I only say I think because I can't speak for everybody. That's something leadership has to consistently earn.
Absolutely.
Well said. And it's not forgetting that we are human beings at the end of the day, and finding connection and
Yeah.
that back to that why you were saying is so important. So can you share some of the tools or processes that you actually use to keep that accountability consistent without that, micromanaging? And because I've been guilty of it as a DSC, right? Micromanaging.
Yeah.
So talk me through some of that.
Yeah. So Michelle, you said it very well earlier. First and foremost, we can't hold anybody accountable to our goals and our needs. That's harassment. So I try to meet everybody where they're at. And I have some folks that are very heavy into technology and some folks that aren't. So I try to help them. And if their barrier and obstacle is technology, but they're fantastic at everything else, then we try to help them, right? Because I don't need anybody to become an Excel spreadsheet specialist like maybe people think I am. That's not important. What's important is the relationship building. So we try to remove obstacles and play to people's strengths, not weaknesses. As an adult, I do not like doing things I suck at. I don't know how you feel, but if you go to someone and say, "Hey, like these things are," and the long term grand scheme of things are important, and they're not good at it, you lose credibility. You lose a lot of, I think, buy-in. And so the one thing I'm so very, very excited about is enroll tools because you don't have to be good at technology. You literally can just plug yourself in and be at the top tier level of some of the most successful people sales wise with the tools, right? Like you have the attributes, you have the tools, and you don't have to be this tech specialist. So walking in, you're getting a tool that pros use without needing to be, I guess a very, very savvy salesperson per se. And so I'd say enroll tools is definitely our secret weapon right now. So I really, really appreciate you guys for introducing us to that because we need a CRM. And what you guys will discover very quickly, if you are elevating and professional, persistently working with clients, you're going to need something to keep organized. So Michelle, I would just say tools wise, find the tool that helps you be very organized. If you want to be effective, you cannot have a game plan to meet with the client, prospect a client 3 times. You have to have a game plan that not only you're going to prospect them 8 to 11 times, but you're also going to have a new hire strategy. You're also going to have a post enrollment strategy. You're also going to have something that's a leave behind because the average client in our book stays forever. And so this is not like a, hey, we got them, go to the next. This is, hey, we got them, we got to love on a long time while going to the next. So Michelle, I would say organization, however you do that's important in our world. It's going to be a lot of accountability on Slack. We meet with the team a lot, very frequently. The leadership and I make ourselves open all the time for coaching, whether it's with a lot of folks or individual coaching. And we put everything in role tools to stay organized and transparent across the board for that coaching.
Yeah, I'll
Keyword.
tell you, John. Like even like pre-enroll tools though, I mean, like you had your team dialed in on figuring out like Google Sheets, like
Yeah.
I mean, my God, like the accountability has been fantastic to watch. Honestly, even like when you were sharing with me, I hope you don't mind me sharing some of your secrets,
Please.
but 8 years ago when you were working with Gazingle and that CRM, I mean, it lifted a lot of people up in a huge way. And I think that just knowing that, I mean, this is just you've built it as part of the process. I mean, when people are interviewing with you, onboarding with you in your TFCs, going through sales school, they know that they're going to be putting businesses through an elevation pipeline. And the end result of that maybe isn't a ton of new accounts closed in the first week or two, but what it does turn into is a actual pipeline. So we see people in your organization not hitting super fast start and get no, they're hitting their triple crowns or hitting
Yeah.
their all-star awards, and they have that sustained pipeline built up. And it's coming from businesses that are going through this exact elevation pipeline. So very, very cool. Again, that wasn't a
Can I
question you
comment
might
on
have
that
asked.
too? Can I
Yeah.
comment on
Yeah.
that? Well, because that's kind of like what we have to, I think, train our brains a little bit more. Like, I was told a long time ago, don't complain about things you're not willing to change yourself. And so, at the end of the day, we can complain all the time and everyone's going to have problems or have things. But, if we're really being good partners to each other, I can't stand weak leadership. And so by tracking and organizing things, weak leadership is as a weak coaching. And so a lot of my agents, I just felt so bad when they come to say, "Hey, John, I need more." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, go prospect more." That's lazy coaching. The
Yeah.
answer to, I find, and maybe just it's the wrong answer, but telling someone they just need to prospect more without actual plan, showing them how, being there for them is just such a brush off. It's like when my kids come and say, "Hey, Dad, I want some attention and time." I'm like, "Yeah, go play on your iPad for a little while. I'll get to you." Right? It serves a purpose, but it doesn't accomplish anything long term. And so I just never want to be in a position where I'm being a weak leader and my coaching isn't with some substance. That's number one.
Attracting and keeping the best talent means offering more than just a paycheck. Aflac Value Added Services delivers real life support for your team. Telehealth from MeMed allows employees to connect with a licensed, board certified medical or behavioral health provider by phone or video and receive personalized treatment anytime, almost anywhere. MeMD is also available as an employer paid offering. Aflac Value Added Services, because supporting your team means supporting their whole well being.
And number two, um, I don't like to celebrate false positives. That's great. You closed 15 accounts that all had an average of 20 people and you barely made participation on each one of those. That's not something to celebrate. In fact, that creates, I think, a lot of bigger problems, not closing them at all. I'd
Right.
rather close 3 accounts and get 100% contributions and participation than 15 with sub 20% participation. Because in my world, where the elevations go to is referrals. And so a
Hmm.
lot of our wins right now are becoming because we leave a client, they are very happy and forthcoming on regards to signing a reference letter, and they're telling people about us. And so then our next close ends up being a mirror image of the other one. You get low participation in a client, that's not the one you're proud of.
Right.
So yeah, Michael, I think that's, Michelle, that's kind of the also reason why people put it in Slack is because you can get one reference letter. Our team right now has posted over 46 in the last month.
Yeah. 46 reference letters. That's
Those are
incredible.
we do not give those away for free. So if you subscribe now, hit and subscribe and
Yeah.
That's pretty
Classic.
amazing.
for
46.
Man.
$10 a month, you can get your own reference letter too.
Yeah, dude, I'll say this. Had a lot of those moments and trainings with my team as a region where I'd be like, you know what, we finally got elevations in, we're knocking it out. people would shake my hand afterwards and be like, "This is the best thing ever. I love you." I spent $1,000 items. And
Yeah.
then the one thing that I've watched you do that I wish I had done was after that day, the very following day, not only do you have a positive reinforcement, but then at the end of the day, you actually have a check in and then another check in and another check in. And if people drop out, you also don't necessarily let them off the hook. You actually say, like, hey, just checking in because I know what your goal is and you care
Mhm.
about me. I know I care about you. You know, how we looking on that goal of hitting those 30 in-person elevations this week? So I just think the fact that you've owned that part has changed lives. I mean, I've also had we always have people that are like, I don't like that. Hey, again, this is a level of accountability, of discipline, and it's actually helped shape your team. So again, that wasn't a question, but it's just great stuff, man.
No, thank you. And that comes back to just like if you're probably struggling getting a new client, you're probably struggling with the why and being genuine. And so I don't let a lot of people off the hooks because I remember our conversation of why they started in the first place. And a lot of people are only one or two prospects, one or two yeses away from financial security. And I love that that's becoming such a major focus of Aflac is putting people back into a position where they're not just scraping by. They're making incomes that are worth talking about. They're making incomes that are supporting families, which
Yeah.
is incredible. So the Alphi dream is alive and well. And so I just feel like I need to be a steward of helping people get there.
You are, man. You definitely are. All right, so we are now moving into our favorite segment called Rapid Fire, and it is sponsored by Elevations. Um, so really quick, my first one, and did not prepare you on this. I always like to tell people, so quick answers. So if you could have lunch with one person, dead or alive, who would that be?
Oh man, that's a good one. I want to say Jesus,
I
but
mean, you can. Yeah, you totally can.
I'd like to like
That's a good one.
ask some questions. Um, yeah, I'll probably say I'd like to sit down with Jocko Willing again. Um, he-
Ooh.
yeah, he scared me a lot, so I'd like to get back in front of him.
That both good responses. And you said
Yeah.
again, so you actually have had lunch with him before?
No, there's a story about one of the hubs where he had a great segment and he scared the life out of me.
Okay, yeah. I know exactly what you're
No,
talking
we
about.
just in
Okay.
my team were big subscribers to the extreme ownership and
Same.
leaders of class. So it would be Jocko and Simon Sinek. I'd love
Hell
to
yeah.
talk to
That's awesome.
you.
Nice, nice. Okay, next question. So if you did you sorry, what $300 or less purchase you've made this year that has improved your work life?
$300 or less that's improved my work life. I don't know. How do I answer that? Lunch for my team? Lunch for some folks? Maybe? I don't know.
I mean, the taco lady is a little bit more than 300,
A little over three.
that's
Yeah.
a fair one because
But okay, no, I'll take it back. I did something. I re-engaged with my veterans, and I would say it wasn't so much the money; it was the time. We handwrote some. My team and I was really proud of my leadership. We handwrote cards to people that are really important to us in this organization. So that was definitely less than $300. So we took the time to handwrite some personal notes, and I think that was very well received.
awesome.
Handwritten card goes a long way.
Okay, last one.
These are hard.
Yeah, this one will be easier. So you live off of the 405 to come into the office in Irvine. So imagine if there was a billboard and your associates had to drive by that billboard there and back each day. And they had to read either it could be a quote, it could be a call to action, it could be a mantra. But what would that billboard say, sponsored by Mr. Jonathan Hajimomen?
Well, the one I love the happiness is only real when shared. That would go back to a lot of the Slack
Mm.
posts. But I think right now, I would say, and I got this from a previous leader. If you keep people in the dark long enough, they see ghosts. I think a lot of times we just forget to communicate with people whether it's just saying hi, I care about you, or it's going to be okay, to just letting them know in the steps and and maybe the progress you're making or not making. So I'd say that, yeah, if I had to put up a billboard right now, communicate, talk to each other.
Yeah,
Huge. That's
that's
really
a great
great.
one, man. Well, do you have any final requests, calls to action for our listeners, all four of them that have made it to the final end?
No, no, I'm very honored to be here. 21 years. Even over the weekend, I reached out to different leadership, including you, and I just said thank you. Just from my family to theirs, just thinking about them, I can say wholeheartedly, I'm in this position because somebody cared about me. A lot of people at Aflac, nothing I've done I could take credit for success wise. I know I get all the blame, and I'll take that too. But I really appreciate this, and I really appreciate what you guys are doing, and it's working and it's fun. So I'm just honored to have been chose to do this.
Well, thank you, man. You've been a awesome partner, and I've really just enjoyed being able to work with you and learn from you, and I look up to you a lot. So,
Likewise.
thank you so much, man. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm sure that we're gonna have many more of these, and yeah, we definitely have a lot more to talk about. So, Michelle, I'm turning it over to you, young lady.
Thank you, buddy.
John, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing how leadership adjustments, lead elevation, and accountability really transformed your region this year and launched you guys in driving those new accounts. It's pretty clear that success starts with the example you set as a leader, right? Leading from the front, as you mentioned. This has been the LA Legends. If today's episode helped you think differently about leadership, subscribe, share it with a teammate, and keep building the habits that make legends. And until next time, keep leading with purpose.